Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to the November edition of the Blazie Technologies webinar. We're excited to have you all tonight. We're going to be discussing, believe it or not, celebrating yet another release for BT Speak. Now, you might not have heard about this update yet. That's because the release is imminent. That hasn't quite happened yet, but we'll be discussing that and we'll be demonstrating a brand new application called BT Code, which is for learning and building with the Python programming language. I'm here with David Goldfield and Tim Noonan, and David's going to introduce the update, and I'm going to do a demonstration of the BT Code application. David, take it away.
Okay, thank you, Stephen. Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us tonight on our November webinar. And excuse me there. So let's talk about the update, which is very close to release. And we'll talk about the features that you're going to see in there and the improvements and the bug fixes. So, first, there's a bit of a distinction that I want to point out that features that are new to the BT Speak, which we're going to talk about, and as Steven said, one of which we're going to demo. New features starting with this update are going to be for those who have a maintenance contract with us for the BT Speak. The maintenance contract basically gives you an extension of your warranty, right? So when you get a BT Speak for the first time, you get an initial 90-day warranty. And currently, that warranty gives you two benefits. There will be some additional ones down the line, but right now you get two definite benefits with the warranty. The first is hardware exchanges. That means that if you have a problem and our support folks are not able to resolve that problem over the phone, we send you an exchange unit, you keep that unit, you send the old one that's not working back to us, and that's all you have to do. And you don't have to worry about sending a unit in for repair and waiting for it to get fixed and all of that. So you have significantly less downtime. The other benefit to the warranty is that you get updates as they're released. That extends for 90 days. After the 90 days, you have the option of purchasing a maintenance contract that basically extends that warranty for pretty much the lifetime of the product. So that means that if you have a maintenance contract for the next year, during that year you get free exchange units if there's a problem that we can't resolve, and you also get new features as they're released that you can download over Wi-Fi. So if you don't have a maintenance contract and you want to get one, you can call us at 772-214-1616. We can take your order by phone, or you can go on our website at blazietech.com, go to the shop link, and one of the choices you'll see is a maintenance contract that you can pay for by month or by year. So you can either pay $20 a month for that maintenance contract, or you can pay $200 a year. You save a little money if you pay by the year. And unlike a lot of other products, there isn't really a 1 or 2 year limit. So you can buy a maintenance contract for a year and keep renewing it year after year. We don't give you a 1 year limit or a 2 year limit. We did the same thing for those of you who remember the Braille and Speak and Type and Speak and Braille Light from Blazie Engineering. We did the same thing. You could pay for a maintenance contract if you got a Braille and Speak in 1988, and you could pay for that service contract for the next decade if you wanted, and we would support you. And that's what we're doing with BT Speak as well. So, if you don't have a maintenance contract and you want to get new features as they come out, as I said, you can go to blazietech.com, go to shop, and you'll be able to purchase that. Or you can call us. We'll take your order by phone. So some of you will be wondering, so what happens if you choose not to get a maintenance contract? Well, you have a few options. First, if you don't have a maintenance contract, at any time, you can get caught up with all of the latest updates for a charge of $50. So let's say you bought a BT Speak last year and you don't have a lot of updates, you don't have a maintenance contract. In 2026 or 2027, you could pay $50 and get the latest update with all of the latest features. And that is cumulative. So you don't just get the latest features at that time, you get everything up until that point. So you can do that. And again, there's a charge of $50 for that. And we will periodically release patches with bug fixes. So even if you're not under maintenance contract, you might find that there will be updates with just bug fixes, but you won't get new features. And this is going to start this month with the upcoming November release. So those who are under a maintenance contract are going to get the full update with bug fixes, improvements, and new features. And those who are not under a maintenance contract and who choose not to get one, you'll still get an update, but it won't have a lot of the new features that you're going to be hearing about tonight. It'll just have some bug fixes just to make sure your unit remains stable and compatible. So before we talk about what's coming up in this update, and I'll cover both scenarios for maintenance contract holders, non-maintenance contract holders, but Stephen, I just want to throw it back to you, ask if there's anything I missed or anything that you think you might want to elaborate on.
I didn't catch anything you missed. A few people entered late, so I think we'll get some questions about that at the end, but that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine. So let's talk about the new features. And again, this is going to be coming up in an update for November. I don't have a complete timeline of when this will be released, but I think it's going to be sooner than later. So first we're going to talk about the new features that those who are under a maintenance contract will see, because these aren't just bug fixes. A lot of these are full new features. The first, and you're going to learn about this in a minute from Stephen, is BT code. So this is going to actually give you lessons, and you'll be able to learn about how to program in Python and how to build sample programs. Comes with an AI coach with different personalities that can guide you, give you feedback on your work. Again, we're going to hear more about that with Stephen's demo in a minute. But this program is going to be called BT Code, and it's one of the new features coming up in the November update. So if you're interested in developing your own software, but you really don't know where to start or what to do first, this is really the perfect solution. It's designed for people of all ages, so even a child as young as 8 years old should be able to work with this program, but I think people of all ages will have a lot of fun with it. Now, the other thing that we've added beside BT Code are some improvements to file sharing, particularly for Windows users. So, the BT Speak has, for quite some time, been able to wirelessly connect to a computer, Windows, Mac, or Linux, and it was working pretty well, but we did make some changes to improve some things. Um, One of those things that we did is that if you connect to the BT Speak as a as the user, the Pi user we call it, so that the username is Pi and there's a password you have to enter, you'll now be able to write files to the home directory. Before you couldn't do that. You could only write to public, but now you can send files to your home folder. We've made some changes to make sure that we have a secure connection for modern versions of Windows. And it should be easier for computers running Windows to discover the BT Speak. So file sharing, if you've not had any issues with file sharing, you shouldn't really notice any difference in connecting. But hopefully it'll do a better job connecting to Windows computers. I think the only downside is that if you're running a version of Windows that is outdated, such as Windows Vista or anything prior, you may run into some issues. But as long as you're running Windows 7 or later, you should be good to go. We also, if you're running your BT Speak in a language other than English, we try to localize the help system and the welcome screen in languages where we have that available. So that should be good. And those are the features that we have if you're under a maintenance contract. Now, whether you're under a maintenance contract or not, there are some other things that we've added, and I'll briefly talk about those next. Some of those are improvements to the YouTube Stream app. When you play a video, you'll be in the media controls menu, and this is a really nice menu because it gives you better control over what you're listening to, and we now use that in the YouTube app. And we also have an option to log out if you need to do that. So that could be good if you have several Google accounts and you want to log out of one and log into another. There were a few other bug fixes. One of them with the Voice Notes app. We noticed in the last update that it wasn't always working reliably, so that's been fixed. There was also, this is a really weird bug, and most people didn't really notice it, but if you press WH chord, which is the where am I command to tell you, what file you're in, sometimes that would trigger a battery drain where one of the cores would start running more than it should, and the unit would start to get a little bit hot. And if you did a deep escape, it would reset that. But now we have fixed that. And one of the weird side effects of that is there were some odd, not speech cutoff issues, but some jittery speech. I occasionally noticed it. So I think if you've encountered that, you may discover that problem has been fixed in the newest update. And finally, in desktop mode, if you use a QWERTY keyboard, if you press the caps lock key with H for help, you'll now go into Orca's key describer help. That wasn't working as you would expect in the past. Again, this was only in desktop mode for QWERTY keyboard users. Does not affect the BT Speak keyboard. So that is what you can expect So as you see, you get a few additional features if you're under a maintenance contract, and if you're not, then you at least get some improvements and some bug fixes to your software. And as I mentioned, if you're not under a maintenance contract and you want to be, you can go to blazietech.com, go to shop, and then you can choose whether you want the monthly or annual contract, or you can give us a call and we'll be glad to take your order. So those are some of the, well, those are all of the features that you can expect in the next update. And that should be coming out very soon. Perhaps in the next week, maybe even less. So, with that, I'm going to kick it back to Stephen Blazie, who is going to give you a demo of BT Code and what that sounds like, so you have an idea of what to expect. Stephen, it's all yours.
Okay, thank you, David. Now, as I told you earlier, I'll be demonstrating a brand new application included with this November release, and it's called BT Code. This is for learning and building with the Python programming language. Now, part of the motivation behind this is that with BT Speak, we already give you the ability to create through its open source design, this power to create. But BT Code really takes that a step further because now we're giving you the tools and the guidance on how to use those tools to turn that creation power into real programs and applications. And Python is really just that, speaking of tools. You can think of Python as an enormous box of tools, and these tools are all designed for specific tasks, like reading a file, showing the second line from that file, maybe removing words from the beginning and end, words that begin and end with a particular letter. And just like any tools, Python has rules for how to use these tools and when to use these tools to accomplish your goals. That's what BT Code is about. So just an example, if I were to give you, a handsaw, you would grip your hand around the handle with the blade perpendicular to the object that you want to cut. And then you move the blade against the object to cut it. But if you were to turn that saw around and place the dull end against the object, it's not going to work very well. And so similarly, if you want to cut a copper pipe in half, you'd have much better results using a hacksaw, say, than a jigsaw. And so it really matters how you use the tool and when you use it, or which tool you choose for the job. And Python is really the same way. And with BT Code, we show you exactly how to use these tools and when to use these tools. And so that's kind of the design philosophy or the logic behind the design of the application. And then with BT Code, we did something else really special. So this application, it's of course you're learning Python, these real world coding. Um, you're learning these real world coding skills, but it's not restricted to just general Python. We realized that with BT Speak, we can also use this app to teach you how to use and control elements of the user interface. So show a message, make a menu, get text input from the end user. And so in that way, with very little code and pretty quickly, you can get up and running to make your own games and applications for this device and then share them with your friends and with the community. Um, BT Code is also our first application employing context-aware AI. And this is in the form of a code learning assistant that we call Cody. And Cody can give tips, help troubleshoot, offer general advice in a manner that it always corresponds to where you are in the lesson curriculum and which activity you're working on. That's what we mean by context aware. And I'll show you what I mean by all of this in our demo. So I'm here in the welcome screen and I'm going to do an O chord.
Options menu.
And we're in the options menu. I'm going to hit A for applications.
Applications menu.
Now, BT Code is in the education submenu of the applications menu. So I'm going to do an E.
Education
Echo.
applications menu.
And here we have at the top BT
BT
Code
C.
because that's shortcut C. So I'm going to do a C.
BT code menu.
Now I'm in the BT code menu. Now, if you've ever used BT Learn, BT code is very similar to that. We have it broken up into two modules. The first is Learn.
Learn. L.
Learn is our curriculum module, and it consists of interactive lessons that I'm going to show you. And these lessons introduce a new Python tool or a set of similar tools in clear logical steps. And the lessons were designed, as David said, with children in mind. And so I expect the lessons will probably actually reach a wide age range from 8 years old and older adults will enjoy it too. The lessons are really all about giving you options. I took everything that I knew in education. I used to teach at the university level. I've worked with a lot of students from different backgrounds. I had a lot of learning difficulties myself when I was younger, and I took all of that and I put it into what kind of options can we give to teach coding? And so each one of these lessons is paired with one or more challenge activities where you're asked to write a small game or a music-oriented app that reinforces concepts that are taught in the lessons up to that point. And so I'm going to demonstrate one of those for you today to give you a sense of what, how a user might work through this lesson curriculum. The second module here that I told you there were two modules is build, and that's the second option in the list in the menu B. Build is an environment for those who have some knowledge of Python and might want to write programs that involve multiple files or modules and this kind of thing, real applications. And this build module, I really envision this as an entry point for what I expect will eventually become a full-scale integrated development environment if you've ever used one of those. So I'm probably not going to have time to actually demo build mode in this webinar, but we'll see how far we get. The next
My
option,
projects. M.
My projects. This shows a menu of your ongoing Python projects if you already have them started, and gives you the ability to open ongoing work in build mode so you can resume working on it. Then we have
Options.
the options menu, and I'll show you that later. I'm going to start tonight with the demo in Learn.
Lessons.
And this is our curriculum module. It's going to put you in a menu of lessons. And the very first option in this menu
Introduction to Python.
is the introduction to Python file. I recommend reading this for anyone who's just getting started with Python. And in addition to answering that question, why learn Python and giving you a kind of high level idea of what to expect, it tells you a bit about how to use these lessons and how to get the most of them within the context of this application. So for tonight's demo, I'm actually going to jump ahead. I'm going to show you a demo of lesson 3 and how a typical user or a student might use these lessons. And I'm going to show you a few different features that they have for facilitating learning when you're working through a coding activity and you might get stuck or you might not remember the logic or the rules for Python programming. So the lessons are numbered.
1 printing 2 variables in log 3 dialogues.
And you can use the shortcut 3 if you wanted to get to lesson 3. So I'm going to do that.
Lesson 3 dialogues left parent interacting with users right paren. Read lesson.
Okay, and you're going to hear some of the punctuation because we're going to go into the code editor and actually code something. And in that context, we recommend setting your punctuation level high so that you can use all of the punctuation marks, which are a frequent characteristic of Python syntax, the way the code is written. So each of these lessons has a lesson file. You're going to get the first option is always going to be
Read lesson.
Read lesson, and that's an interactive lesson file that I'm going to show you. And then that follows with one or more challenge activities, which are the activities that I told you about, where you're tasked with programming a small game or an application. And that ranges from things like a random numbers game, a dice rolling game, hangman, a music making game. There's all sorts of different activities in here. And we expect to expand this with time. This is very much an entry point application. I think you'll find that we have 13 lessons in this first version. And what we'll do from here is probably expand the lesson curriculum and add features as needed. So while I'm on that subject, we love hearing from all of you about how you're liking this application and where we can improve it, what kind of features we can add that can make learning easier or programming with Python more enjoyable. So I'm going to start with the first option, read lesson.
Lesson 3 colon. Dialogues left parent interacting with users right paren.
Okay, and this is a file, and so you can read this like any file on BT Speak. Now, this is a markdown file, so I can navigate by heading level.
H2. Built-in versus custom tools.
And now I'm reading the first heading level in the document, built-in versus custom tools. It's going to give you a very high level overview of what are these dialogues tools that you're introducing, and how do I work with them in on BT Speak, how to use the custom tools.
H2. How to use custom tools.
And then one of the specific tools that's taught in this lesson is
H2. Asking for user input colon. Dialogues.request input left paren right paren.
this is requesting input from the end user, dialogues.request input. And below each of these, it's going to give you information about.
This tool shows a question, lets the user type a response, and stores it in a variable. This particular tool is called a function - more on that later.
Okay, so it's going to tell you a little bit about what that tool does, and how to classify that tool. Now, one of the features of these lesson files that I want to show you tonight is that they're very much interactive, and so you'll often get these example code blocks inside, like this one below.
Blank example colon. From BT Speak import dialogues. Name equals dialogues.request input left paren quote what is your name, quote right paren.
Now, what you're hearing here are lines of Python code that are in the file. It's showing you how to use this code.
Dialogues.show message left paren quote nice to meet you, quote plus name right paren.
And below these blocks, we often have links.
Link try this.
Called try this. And the try this link, you can use .8 on that link. And what it does is it executes the code block above it. And so you can experience what happens when that code is run. Very often you'll see code written in a file and you're just not grasping, okay, what is this supposed to do when it's executed? I see how it's written, but I'm not sure exactly what that is supposed to do. So I can press enter on this.
What is your name colon?
And it's going to give me an input prompt. What is your name?
TVD.
So I'm going to type my name.
Nice to meet you, Steve.
And then it shows a message, nice to meet you, and it uses the name that I gave it, Steve. Okay, so those are our lesson files, and those continue. They vary in length depending on how many of those tools are introduced. The lessons, it's kind of based on a baby steps concept, and so these are very, very short logical steps, and so you're not being introduced to an overwhelming amount of tools that you're just not going to remember when you move on to the activity. It's really just a few at a time, or a few very, very similar functioning Python tools that you're learning, and all of them usually tie in and work together somehow to accomplish the challenge activity. So I'm going to do a Z chord out of this lesson file.
Lesson 3 dialogues left parent interacting with users right paren. Read lesson.
And I'm going to do a .4 chord, the challenge.
Challenge : create a custom greeting.
Okay, this is the challenge, and that's the topic of the challenge, which is create a custom greeting.
Create a custom greeting. Instructions.
Now, as I told you before, these activities, they really range in what they're asking you to do. At this point in the lesson curriculum, we're on lesson 3. The user really has few tools. They've become familiar with very few tools to be able to do anything really substantial. And so this particular activity, you're probably not going to be impressed with the activity itself or the result, what you're actually doing with it. But later on, you get into things that are a little bit more interesting and involved, like Hangman, which would take quite a long time to demonstrate. So for demonstration purposes, I'm going to show you how this one works. Create a custom greeting. Now we're inside the challenge menu because I use .8 on that option. And in this menu, the first option is
Instructions.
instructions. And so these are the instructions for accomplishing this activity. When I press enter on that,
Heading Level 1 Lesson 3 : Create a custom greeting.
now here I'm going to enter a file very similar to that lesson file that I just showed you. And I can also use Markdown navigation to navigate this file.
Search wrapped. H2. Search wrapped. H1. Left
Here we go.
H2. Goal :
Okay, so it's going to start with a goal. Every one of these challenge activities is structured the same way, and so the user knows exactly what to expect. You're gonna find the goal, and it's gonna say here, write a program that asks for the user's name and the user's favorite food. So two separate request inputs, and then it shows a custom greeting using the values that the user gave. And then below that, the next heading is your task, and it breaks it down even further. Now here with your task,
H1. H2. Goal : H2. Your task :
you're going to get a numbered list, and it's going to say
1. Import the dialogues tool set correctly from BT Speak. 2. Ask the user for their name using dialogues.request input left paren right paren.
and so on. And this one really breaks it down. These are the logical steps that you need to follow in order to accomplish this activity. So it gives you a little bit more information if you need that.
H2. H2. Example output :
Below that, it'll give you an example output. So it tells you in writing, this is what to expect from the output of this program. And then below that
H2. Hint :
is the hints, and this will give you kind of words of advice and warnings for remember to do this. It's very common for a developer to forget to do this, and this causes an error. Some of them become very, very important, and so it's useful to read these hints. So I'm going to go back to the challenge menu now that we've read the
Create a
instructions.
custom greeting. Instructions.
And now the next logical thing is, well, I want to code this activity.
Code it.
So we go to the coded option. Now, when I press enter here, this is going to open the code editor.
Code editor : Create a custom greeting.
Okay, and the code editor is really it's a session of the editor in Blazie mode, except it's kind of a minimal session where everything is available in this editor as it is in the Blazie mode editor, except for the edit menu, navigation menu, and I believe the delete and paste menus are unavailable as well. But all of the other features, including the clipboard and find and search and things like that, are available here. And so you'll be right at home if you're used to our editor. Now, I've already pre-filled this particular code editor with the code that's needed to complete this particular activity. And I'm going to show you what that's like navigating this file. It's going
From
to say,
BT Speak import dialogues.
so we import the toolset dialogues as the instructions told us, as the lesson told us.
Name equals dialogues.request input left paren quote what is your name quote right paren.
Now here we're asking the user, what is your name in an input prompt, and then we're taking the value that the user gave us, and we're storing that value in a variable that we called name. And the third line, we're doing the same thing with food.
Food equals dialogues.request input left paren quote what is your favorite food quote right paren.
And then finally, in the last part,
dialogues.show message left parent quote nice to meet you left brace name right brace. I like left brace food right brace too quote right paren.
we're doing a show message, and that's going to show the message on the screen, including the name and the food that are encoded in those variables. So here in this dialog, there's a command that you're going to want to remember for saving this file and proceeding, in this case, proceeding back to the menu where you came from. And that command is Control S. So think S for save. And when we do that,
File saved. Create a custom greeting. Code it.
it's going to say file saved. Now, if you were to Z chord in that menu, I'll show you what happens.
Code editor : dialogues. Show message left parent quote nice to meet you left brace name right brace. I like left brace food right brace too. Quote save changes left parent default is yes right parent.
And if I do a Z chord, you're safe. It's going to say save changes. It's going to ask you, did you do this by mistake? Basically, save changes, and you can say yes is the default.
Create a custom greeting. Code it.
And so there are really two ways to exit from that code editor. Okay, the third option here,
Run it.
following the logical design, is run it. You're going to run your code that you wrote, and when we do that,
What is your name :
it's going to begin to execute my code, and it's going to ask for my name.
Cat TVD. What is your favorite food : Cat AMURGERS. Nice to meet you, Steve. I like hamburgers too.
Okay, and so that's what this looks like when the code is executed properly. And
create a custom greeting. Run it.
We're going to press enter to return there, and then the next option is grade it. Now, grade it is really an evaluation function. What this is the AI agent Cody is going to who's aware of my lesson and what I'm learning and the challenge activity that I'm completing here is going to evaluate the code that I wrote to see if it conforms to the rubric of the lesson or the goal that I was trying to accomplish here. So I'm going to press enter on grade it.
Grading your lesson.
It's going to say grading your lesson.
100%. Wow, you've mastered this lesson. Fantastic job.
And this is a file that you can use .4 chord to navigate through it. And it's going to tell you,
here's what you did right :
here's what you did right, and if you didn't do something right, it'll tell you something about that as well. So this is going to be a numbered list. And
one right paren. Program imports dialogues correctly using from BT Speak import dialogues.
And in this case, it has about 6 different items that were accomplished correctly that it was evaluating. So I'm going to go back to the menu.
Create a custom greeting. Grade it.
And I'm going to show you what happens when things go wrong and we a user gets stuck.
Code it. Code editor : dialogues. Show message left parent quote nice to meet you left brace name right brace.
And so to simulate that,
left F quote.
I'm going to remove a single character from this show message, which is the F prefix. It's just a single character. F is in foxtrot.
F.
And if we remove that, the show message is no longer going to unpack the values that are stored in each of these variables, name and food. And so it's just going to present that message as a literal, what we'd call a string literal, which is the message as it's written literally in the quotes. So I'm going to do a Control S here and save.
File saved. Create a custom greeting. Code it. Run it.
Now when I run it,
what is your name : Cat TVD. What is your favorite food : Cat AMURGERS. Nice to meet you left brace name right brace. I like left brace food right brace too.
And so you can hear it says, nice to meet you, name, I like food too. And the name and food are being taken literally instead of unpacking the values from those variables. And so one of the useful functions
custom greeting. Run it.
Of the grade it, remember I told you this is an evaluator as much as it is, well, I'm finished with the lesson, did I do it correctly? This can be helpful. Imagine when your programs get very, very large and you might work very hard to get a third of the way through this program and you think, wow, I'm really stuck. Am I even going in the right direction? And so this grade it function can offer some peace of mind and some encouragement that you're doing it right. Here's what you need to do next.
Grade it.
And this kind of simulates that, the removal of the F. And so I'm going to go to grade it.
Grading your lesson. Score: 80%.
And so it's telling me, well, you're 80% of the way there.
Awesome, Job. You're so close to having this program work perfectly. Just a tiny tweak needed for the grading.
And just a tiny tweak needed. And then it's going to proceed to say, here's what you did
Here's
right.
what you did right,
And it's going to give me the list of what I did correctly.
1 right, 2 3 4 6 blank. Here's what needs work,
And then it's going to tell me, here's what needs work. So here's specifically what I'm missing.
5 right paren. Program uses dialogues.show message left paren right paren to display a greeting that includes both name and food. Your greeting is almost perfect. Create a custom greeting.
Okay, so
Great.
what you were hearing there is it's telling me specifically that the message is not printing properly, encoding the correct values for name and food. And so let's say I'm here and I say, wow, I'm really stuck. I'm not really sure what I'm doing
Help
wrong.
me.
This graded is never really going to give away the answer. It really makes you kind of work for it a little bit because that's how you learn. So you go to help me.
Options for create a custom greeting. Demo the solution.
Now, help me is another option in this challenge menu, and that's going to bring you to the help menu, help options for this particular challenge. And the first option is
Demo the solution.
now demo the solution actually executes the correct answer, the correct code to give you a sense of uh, what happens when you complete the activity correctly, what's supposed to happen when you run this code. And we already did that.
Review lesson 3.
The second option is going to be review lesson 3, which is go back to that lesson file and maybe there I want to search for, how do I unpack those values in that string that I wrote. The next option
Tips.
is tips. So here I can get more pointed advice on, well, I'm really stuck. Give me some clues here to bail me out. So I'm going to press enter.
Asking for tips. Hey there, supercoder. Your program is almost there, but it looks like the greeting isn't quite showing the name and food you entered. Let's fix that.
Okay, and then it's going to give me 3 different tips here for this code that I wrote, and it's going to say
1 right paren. Remember that f-strings are a super handy way to put variables directly into your messages. Try putting an F right before the opening quote of your message in grog dialogues.show message left paren right paren, grog.
Okay, so here I made a very specific mistake, and so it's giving me a very specific solution to that mistake is that I need to use that F prefix to make the F string work. And then it's going to give me 2 other pieces of advice. Now, one other cool thing about this tips feature is that when you have the full solution coded out and you go to grade it and it says 100%, this is 100% correct, you can still go to tips and make use of that. And what it'll do is it'll tell you, great, everything's working correctly. But here's some ideas to make your game or application more useful. Try making it 2 player. Here's how to do that, and it'll give you some steps to, here's how to advance your application and make it a little bit more interesting. And so that can be kind of a fun feature to explore more. So I'm going to do a Z chord from the tips,
Help options for create a custom greeting. Tips.
and I'm going to show you the last option in this.
Ask Cody.
Ask Cody. So this is very similar to like a Chat GPT or Gemini or any of these AI chat programs out here. The big difference here is that you're dealing with a context-aware AI agent, and so it understands that your knowledge of Python up to this point is that covered up to lesson 3, and not to give you advice that introduces things that are covered in lesson 4 and above because you haven't gotten there yet. And so it really gives you very specific pointed advice and it puts it in plain English that you can understand. So to give you a sense of what that's like, I'm going to press enter on Ask Cody.
Question for Cody :
And it's going to say question, and I'm going to say,
Cat A W.
how do I use F strings?
How to cat S E F T I G S. Question.
And enter.
Great question. You're on the right track by asking how to use them.
Okay, and it's going to say, great question. You're on the right track by asking how to use them. And it proceeds with an entire file very focused on F strings. This is about 50 to 100 lines of text, including examples and how to use this tool and the correct syntax to use the example. Then when I Z chord here, there's another feature.
Exit. Respond to Cody :
Respond to Cody. And so this is very much a conversational AI agent. It remembers your past interactions, and you can continue to have a conversation with it in a manner that, well, it's going to remember what you asked it the first time, so that when you're on, response 5, that context is kept into the conversation, which is helpful. Okay, there's
Help
one more.
options for create a custom greeting. Ask Cody.
One more feature that I want to show you here is what happens when you run the code that's truly broken and Python throws an error.
Create a custom greeting.
So
Help me.
we're going to go back to the code editor and simulate that. I'm going to go to code it.
Great. Run it. Code it. Code editor : dialogs.show message left paren quote nice to meet you left brace name right brace.
And
I like left brace food right brace 2 quote right paren.
I'm going to put the F back in place.
Blank. Food equals dialogs blank. Food equals space.
And I'm going to remove
speak space T speaks T
the variable here for food.
Space.
And so now we have a variable name that's collecting the name, but the food variable, I've removed it from this. And so there's going to be nothing to unpack when it tries to unpack this variable in the message because I haven't introduced it or defined it anywhere. So I'm going to save this.
File saved. Create a custom greeting. Code it.
And you're going to get something known as a name error when you run this. So I'm going to run it.
What is your name : TEVE. What is your fave FURGERS? Error : traceback left paren most recent call last right paren :
Now you're going to get what's known from Python as a traceback. It's an ordered list of everything that was executed essentially line by line in your code, and then where it encountered that error, specifically where it was encountered. And at the end, it's going to give you the most pertinent error that it defined as
name error : name food is not defined.
Name food is not defined. Now, the really cool thing about this is that when you're learning Python, these error reports are really essential to learn them and understand how to interpret them and identify the bug. Where did I go wrong with this program? And so I really wanted users of this app, the students, to be able to understand how to interpret those. And they can be a little bit difficult when you're starting to learn Python because you don't understand all of these terms, name errors and things. So the AI agent will also give you advice below that.
Blank. Cody's advice : oh no, it looks like there was a little hiccup in your code. The error name error : name food is not defined means that your program was trying to use a word called grog food grog. Therefore, type C chord to exit.
It's going to proceed to tell me all about that error and give me advice on how to fix it. Okay.
Type Cody's advice : create a custom greeting.
Now, one more feature I want to show you before we end the demo here.
Lesson 3 dialogues left paren interact 3 dialogues.
I'm going to go all the way back to the main menu. Remember I told you
learn, build.
There's an options menu at the bottom of this BT code menu. This is kind of a fun thing.
BT code options menu.
In this options menu, you have first option,
Cody's persona, C.
Cody's persona. Now,
which BT code persona would you like to use?
You can select from about 10 different personas. Kind, goofy, grouchy, pirate, teacher, thoughtful, anxious, sarcastic, whimsical, or braille nerd. And we're going to try pirate.
Goofy. Pirate. Okay. Cody's persona, C.
And I'm going to go back
options
to the main menu.
My prop build, learn, L. Lessons. Introduction to Python. 1, 2, 3 dialogues. Lesson 3 dialogues. Create a custom greeting. Instructions.
Back to the challenge I was working on.
Run it.
And I'm going to run it with the same error in place.
What is your name : Cat TVE. What is your cat MURGERS? Error colon. Trasabac dot fork name it blank. Cody's advice colon.
Now I have Cody's advice, and he's going to say,
Ahoy there, matey. Ye be jetting a grog name error grog. This be like trying to ask for grog when ye ain't even told the barkeep we're kind o' create a custom greeting.
and you get
Run
the
it.
idea. Cody's speaking like a pirate.
Lesson 3 dialogues left. 3 dialogues.
Okay, so that's the lessons module.
Learn.
I'm
L.
going to turn it over now to David, who's probably going to take questions at this point, unless you have anything else to say.
No, that was great. Really appreciate the demo. I'm sure everybody else did as well. So that's what you can look forward to in the November update for those who are under a maintenance contract. So I think we may have some raised hands. So Stephen, if you want to let us know who has questions and ask them to unmute, we'll be glad to talk to them.
Sure, we've got one from Scott.
Hey, Scott.
My
Uh-huh.
question is has to do with for those not under the maintenance contract who want to pay the $50 for an update. How will that work in terms of when you go to to do the update on the BT speak? Are you going to get prompted for payment information at that time, or just how is that going to work?
Yeah, I don't know if we have all of that infrastructure in place publicly yet, but it surely will be soon, because we do want to give people the opportunity
Right.
to do that. I mean, what we're not anticipating is we don't want people to have to pay $50 per update, because at that point it's cheaper to get the maintenance contract.
No, I see. But just maybe in the major updates that are not just patches, that would be $50 or something.
Yeah, but there could be major updates every, possibly 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah.
We've had, in some cases, major updates once a month.
Yeah.
Prior to the maintenance contract setup. So,
So that's kind of still under. That's still in works as far as getting all worked out, ironed out. So
yeah, but it's really designed for someone who, let's say, it's been a year or so, and they're like, I really would like to get the latest updates and get caught up. That's really what it's designed for. So I think by the time there are a few updates out, we'll have something like that in place. I don't know exactly how it's going to work, but we are going to have it.
Okay, but for this upcoming update, everybody will be able to do it. Just won't get this new coding feature unless you're under a maintenance contract.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yes.
Okay.
That's right.
Okay.
People who are not under a maintenance contract can will still get the bug fixes.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
It's a couple of different things, right, David? Not just BT code, but also
it's the improvements. One of them is the improvements to file sharing. I know is included in the maintenance contract update. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Thanks a lot. That's pretty much it.
We're going to go to Becky.
Hi, I'm really impressed with the BT code. That would probably be enough for me to pay for maintenance. I have two questions. One is, can you pay for like 2 months at a time? Say you want to pay for the maintenance contract for this year and then reevaluate how often you need to update next year. Because to be honest with you guys, the BT speak is so advanced that, a user might not need an update every month, or maybe they do, what I'm trying to say? Or do you, once you start the contract, do you just automatically pay $20 a month?
Well, so the way it works right now with our system is you can either set it up to renew $20 a month or $200, and you can set it up so that it automatically renews.
Right.
Or you could do a one-time deal and just pay $200 for the year and not have it renew. And obviously, if someone does have a monthly thing, it'll renew. But if you've, let's say, paid 4 months and for whatever reason you don't want to do it anymore, you feel you can't do it, you can call us and say, hey, I've had a monthly payment for a few months. I'd like to discontinue that. We can cancel it.
Hmm.
Bear in mind that for someone who does that, or for someone who's out of warranty, who then decides to get a maintenance contract, we'll let them do it, but I think there is a 30-day waiting period for it to kick in.
That's correct.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Um,
But yes, you can cancel at any time. So we
right.
have a lot of customers who do pay by the month. And, if you've paid by the month for a while and for whatever reason you have to cancel it, we can do that for you on our system.
And what does that mean by the 30-minute, or 30-day delay? Does that mean it'll take 30 days for it to be able to cancel it?
No, in other words, let's say that I my warranty has lapsed. And it's
Mm-hmm.
been it's been 6 months, and then I say, well, I really want to get an annual maintenance contract.
Mm-hmm.
We'll let you do it, but there's a 30-day wait before that warranty kicks in.
Okay, before the warranty kicks in, but you still get the updates.
I don't think so. I think during that 30-day period, you probably wouldn't. But once that 30-day waiting time is over, you'll get the latest updates, and we will give you a year. We won't, you won't get 11 months.
Okay,
So
so in other words,
you won't
right,
get cheated out of a month.
right. So in other words, if I go ahead and get a maintenance contract, I wouldn't be able to get the BT code immediately. I had to wait 30 days.
If
Am I,
you're
yeah,
not under warranty, I believe that's correct.
I'm
Stephen, does that
probably
sound right to you?
not.
I
Yeah,
think I think
yes, I
yeah.
believe that's correct.
Yeah.
Okay. Another question I have is, are we allowed to get like sometimes when you're doing Python, you've got speech. Is there a way to maybe get the instructions and the reading things like in a BRF file? So like if you had an external braille display, you could follow along and read it that way as you're hearing the speech because sometimes hearing speech alone can be difficult.
So you're saying the instructions, can you get those in a separate file so that you could open it up on another device?
Yeah, like instructions in the reading lessons, or is that
I
possible?
Stephen, I'll let you.
That it's an interesting
It's
idea.
interesting.
I'll be honest with you. This application, we really had BT Braille in mind for this because it's very much a having the Braille display is very helpful, just like you said. And so, doing with this with speech only, it does pose some challenges, and we haven't really thought much about how to make this work with external display because most of BT Speak at this point isn't working with external display. I
Hmm.
suppose you could do that. I don't know if the Braille translation would interfere with uh, the Python code syntax that's also included in those files, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it might. Yeah, that's a good point.
Just off the top of my head, but I have to think about that. I'm going to go to Chris Westbrook. Hey, Chris.
Hey, good to be here.
Uh-huh.
I'm getting my BT speak on Thursday, so I'm really excited.
Well,
Um,
congratulations on that.
so
Yeah.
I guess one of my questions is about the maintenance contract. Like, how are you guys keeping track of who has a maintenance contract and who doesn't? Is there something that you put on your BT speak then later? And then my other question is, I think I heard you guys have a Bible on there. Is there a way to get, or would you guys consider having a more modern translation like the ESV or something like that? Or is that something I could code myself once I get my BT speak?
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
I'll answer that one first because that's kind of the simplest thing. I mean, I don't think there are any immediate plans to add translations, but as you said, you are free to download your own
mhm.
translation. There are several
Right,
sources for those,
right, right,
and
right.
transfer those, and you'll have them in the BT Speak. As far as the maintenance, so when someone gets a maintenance contract, they're in our system, and we will know. Now, what we ran into with some customers who had an older BT speak is they had a situation where if they were on the older update system, sometimes
Oh,
we had to manually register those users and we had to enter the serial number. The user didn't have to do that. It was really on us to do that.
right,
I
right.
think we've taken care of most of those older devices that were on the older update system. But in your case, you're getting a BT Speak now, and that's already on the new system. So I don't think you're going to
Okay.
run into a problem. So the bottom line is our system will know based on the serial number of the unit who is under maintenance contract and who isn't, or
Okay.
who's under warranty and who
Right.
isn't. So the bottom line is if you're under warranty or maintenance contract, we'll have that registered and it'll be seamless. You won't even have to think about it.
Okay, cool.
Chris, you bring
All
up a
right.
good point. I think what you're asking is when I purchase a maintenance contract, if I were to do that later, how do we know that your device is registered? And that is something
Yeah.
manually that you have to do. And so there's an option in the BT Speak management menu, which you'll become familiar with. And in that, it's register maintenance contract. And you would use that option and type in your order number, and that registers your physical device to that contract.
I see. Okay.
And the reason for that is because many people have multiple BT Speaks in the same household under the same person, and we don't know
Mm,
which one they want to protect. And so
right.
that's what
Yeah.
links the maintenance contract to the physical device.
Should I mean, I know you said the warranty is 3 months and then, but I forget. So, like, should I get my contract now and would it kick in then after the warranty expires or should I just wait?
No, it'll kick in afterward. So you'll
Okay.
still get that initial 90 days, even if you get a contract.
Okay.
And then, so, you ordered it, you're getting it in early November.
Right.
So that means you're covered under the initial warranty until early
Mm-hmm.
February. And then
Right.
after that, if you bought a maintenance contract, it should kick in from
Okay.
the end of that warranty until that it's expired. And if you keep renewing it, then you basically have complete, continuous coverage.
Right. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's all my questions.
All right, thanks, Chris. We're going to go to Elijah.
Sorry, so like I was just gonna say, like, if you so if you bought a BT Braille and you already have a BT speak, would you need to pay for the contract for both or just one?
I mean, you would pay for both if you want both of them protected and insured, so that you get an exchange if you have any kind of hardware difficulties that we can't address with a phone call. But B, it still gives you that assurance that you'll get updates both on your BT Speak as well as your BT Braille.
Okay, so maybe like two separate things. Okay.
Yeah.
And also, like, I just wanted to say that, that, like, for connecting an external Braille display, like, by default, it doesn't work very well. But if you change like one line in a file, it works relatively like not it's like everywhere but the editor it works. And like I think I posted that on a mailing list somewhere, but if I might not, and if not, I'll post that again. But like it's like one change to a file, and then you can like, connect to an external display, except in the editor. Like
Yeah,
like
you can feel
the
free to
desktop
put
mode
that.
work, the terminal work. Like I haven't tried BT code. I mean, I don't know how well that would work, but
Hmm. We haven't either with an external display. And that's the problem, is that even with that modification that you're talking about, I think a lot of people who would want to use BT Speak with a Braille display would want to use the editor,
Yeah.
and because that's a really important part of the product. In the manual, we like to say that the editor is front and center with the BT Speak, and it's not the only feature, but it's kind of the one that you're faced with when you first turn it on, and it's the one that a lot of people spend the most time with. I don't know how well it would work with BT Code with the modification that you presented, but certainly it would work with BT Braille.
David, Tim here.
Hey, Tim.
Hi, guys. So basically, as things stand at the moment with the editor, it either speaks reliably, which is how it's set up at the moment, or you can make changes and the speech breaks. And if you're lucky, you might have it working with a Braille display. A couple of months down the track, it's likely, no promises, that we will have an updated version of the editor that basically can write to the screen and also speak reliably. But that's not available at the moment, and I don't know when that will be, but down the track that will most likely change. But now, if you make that change, then your speech output's going to be secondary, and as you move by words, it might just say the character and so on. But down the track, we are working towards resolving that issue so that you could get Braille and speech working harmoniously. Back to you, David.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Elijah. We're going to go to Brandon.
I got a couple of questions, but they're pretty much about the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
When you update, say, to November, and you start the maintenance contract, if you were to download the November update, do new features like the Braille code editor and stuff, are they in a disabled state until you do the maintenance contract? Or if you do the maintenance contract, is it like, oh, extra components available, time to do another update?
Essentially the latter, I think. So if someone doesn't have a maintenance contract now, they're going to get an update with just the bug fixes and some smaller improvements. And if you do then get a maintenance contract, you'll basically be told, hey, there's another update. So it's not like I don't think it's a question of, and Tim, you can keep me honest here, but I don't think it's like an enablement package where everything is there, but some of the things are hidden.
Yeah, so I'm not primarily involved with this side of things, but my understanding is that we have two different versions. One has bug fixes at the moment, and one is the new version with the new features. So the features won't be disabled. They won't actually be present. How that will unfold down the track is, we're just starting on the first contract-based upgrade this month, so there'll probably be more clarity over the next month or two. But at the moment, if your serial number is in the database as a registered user under contract, then you are automatically given the correct version. And if your serial number is not listed in the I've got a contract list, then you get the bug fix version when you choose the download option.
And will we still be notified on the list what the updates are for each bucket?
Yes.
Contract. Oh, okay, good.
Yep. We already have the release notes written out. We're basically going to have one set of release notes, and it's going to start out with, okay, here's the section for people who are under a maintenance contract. Following that, there's a section for people who are not. But of course, people who are under a maintenance contract get all of it, even the small bug fixes and improvements. But we do differentiate between that in the release notes. And we will be putting it on the list. I just haven't done it because even though we're showing the update tonight and we've demonstrated BT code at a conference about a week or so ago, the update isn't really ready yet. So I don't like to put it on the main list until we know the update's ready to install.
All right. Thank you, Brandon. And I think that's it for questions tonight.
Okay.
So,
Well, Stephen, I don't know if you had anything else that you wanted to end with.
that's it from me. Thanks, everyone, for coming, and see you at the next one.
Yep. Thank you, everyone. And remember our website if you want to visit that and get registered with a maintenance contract. It's blazietech.com. Go to the link that says shop, and under shop, you'll see the maintenance contract options, or give us a call at 772-214-1616. We'll take your order very securely and very efficiently, and we'll get you set up that way as well. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you during the next webinar. Take good care.
Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more content like this.